From Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley. And before I update you on weather, here's a look at the three major stories Fox 4 News is monitoring for you tonight. It was a busy Friday night in Cape Coral for the fire department. Yesterday evening around 6:15, firefighters responded to a brush fire in the Yucca Pens near Chiquita and Jacaranda Parkway. Now, crews from the North Strike team and the Florida Forest Service were able to contain the fire to 7 acres by 10 o'clock. Now, elsewhere, crews responded to an electrical fire at South RO plant. The fire was contained to one electrical supply line from the main LCEC transformer. The Fort Myers Police Department is still operating under an interim police chief after the late Derek Diggs took a leave of absence more than a year ago while dealing with a cancer diagnosis. Now, Chief Diggs passed away 6 months ago, and since then, the city's been working to find a new leader. Now, Fox 4 has learned that the city manager, Marty Lawley, is expected to make a new recommendation to the city council on Monday for the position. On Pine Island, Hurricane Ian can't keep residents from celebrating the beauty of the mango. Pine Island's Mango Mania took place today at Our Lady's Miraculous Metal Church in Bokeelia. Now, Mango Mania is a chance for community to support locally farmers and businesses. Now, Charlie Popper with Fruitscapes LLC says it was great to see people returning to the island.
It was just great for just everyone on the island and everyone around the area to get together and see what Pine Island's about. Most people don't think any of us survived after the hurricane, so it's good to let people know that we're still here.
Now, donations raised at the event will benefit the Chamber's Island Leaders of Tomorrow program. Now, let's take a look at weather. It was another hot day across Southwest Florida, but not as hot as we've seen the last couple of days. Only a high of 90 today in Fort Myers, and that was helped by the fact we did get a little bit more rain showers around the area. Places like Vineyards down in Collier County, about 1.25 inches out there today. But we all know it's been a very hot month here in July. Each and every day has seen those above normal temperatures. In fact, based on the average temperature each day, we are on pace for the hottest July on record here in Southwest Florida. And as much as more of the heat we all been feeling at the moment, but while some people are, well, maybe pulling out of Florida altogether, well, some may be trying to move to Cape Coral altogether. We'll break down those stories coming up.
I'm Ella Rhodes in Cape Coral, where over 100 residents behind me are demonstrating against the proposal of a new waterfront development.
The idea is to protect the
mangroves, which residents want to keep. Bill Barrett says his neighborhood would have looked worse from Ian if not for the mangroves.
It's not a matter of if a hurricane is going to come and if damage is going to be done, but when it's going to be done.
Annette Barbaccio, who represents the landowners of Redfish Point, where those protective mangroves lay, says
the owners are landowners. We have no contract with the developer.
Redfish Point submitted an amendment to the city where
future land use is the big picture,
not zoning, which matters if
there's a future developer.
2/3 of the wetlands are proposed for preservation. The hotel, family units, marina, and retail space in the proposal
was a maximum development scenario.
With the potential construction effects on the natural resources, residents don't want a repeat of Ian, and
I don't want to be flooded again. I want to preserve the natural beauty of this park. I don't want Pelican Boulevard to turn into a Cape Coral Parkway.
The city of Cape Coral says they don't plan for the proposal to go in front of the city council for several months. In Cape Coral, Ella Rhodes, Fox 4.
Over.
I'm very frustrated.
And over.
So I'm stuck.
We've heard the stories of the state's homeowners insurance crisis. Rates going up or companies leaving, like Farmers Insurance.
So they're not abandoning the state. What they're doing is shutting down one portion.
That portion, Mark Friedlander of Florida's Insurance Information Institute says serves 30% of its customers, or about 100,000 people.
The market has been in such turmoil for so long that unfortunately, in many cases, we're seeing the conditions get worse before they get better.
And the numbers prove it. Over the past 18 months, Friedlander says 15 companies stopped writing policies. 4 left the state, and 7 became insolvent, meaning they can't pay out claims. The reason, he says?
Legal system abuse and assignment of benefits claim fraud.
Driving up your premiums. So I asked Friedlander, can the move from Farmers Insurance have the same effect?
It should have limited impact on other consumers that don't have Farmers Insurance.
Limited impact, though it does not mask our crisis. A crisis he's optimistic will stabilize, with the first sign being the state insurance citizens slowing down how many new customers are applying.
Once we get to a stable market, that will mean more competition. More competition means better pricing.
Which many want to hear instead of this.
Our insurance went up another $1,600.
They're canceling our insurance.
Farmers Insurance says affected customers will get a notification explaining when their coverage is ending and what options they have for replacement. That will take time because the Florida Office of Insurance Regulation needs to approve the company's plan. To find out the companies within Farmers Insurance not impacted, you can find out right now on fox4now.com. Reporting in studio, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.
I'm Ryan Kruger, and there's a growing list of conventions that are canceling in the Sunshine State, citing the state's current political climate. Tourism officials in Broward, Miami-Dade, and Orange counties all say at least a dozen national conventions that were planned for Florida have either canceled entirely or chosen to move to a different state to hold their events. The leaders of those conventions point to recent legislation targeting, for instance, the LGBTQ community and migrants. One tourism official said this could end up costing the state more than $20 million in tax revenue. Several national organizations have also called for a boycott to Florida, and they say the economic impact could be massive.
Florida is, thrives with a robust tourism economy. And because of SB 1718, that is going to significantly affect.
The governor's office says these cancellations are nothing more than political stunts, and they point to the fact that Florida saw record-breaking tourism in the first 3 months of this year. Ryan Kruger, Fox 4 Investigates.
I'm really hoping that people will come by the memorial and see it and be encouraged to sign the petition.
Among the dozens of heartfelt messages written and left for the 5 teens now includes a message and marker from Tina Lewis, calling for safety changes on Topgolf Way.
There's no curve signs down here. There's no barrier. There's no speed limit sign or anything on this road.
Tina, who drives Topgolf Way to work each day, where Fort Myers investigators say the teens were going over 50 miles per hour over the speed limit, says despite the teens' speed, there are safety issues which are laid out in this online petition to the Florida Department of Transportation, which has collected over 23,000 signatures in just over 2 weeks. So to get a better idea of the safety concerns Tina is talking about, I walked this entire portion of Topgolf Way and I didn't see any of those safety measures in place. So the question that remains is, what can be done?
All of our traffic investigations will look at roadway factors that come into play.
Acting Captain Sean Yates says Fort Myers Police Department investigators are looking into those safety concerns.
Then we'll look at those and then we make those recommendations up through the city, the county, and even the state level.
Fort Myers Public Information Officer Kristen Capuzzi tells me right now the department doesn't have any update on if those recommendations will be made.
One person crashing here was enough, but now 5 people have tragically passed here, and something just has to be done.
So Tina says she will continue to collect signatures until those changes come to Topgolf Way.
If this is the only justice I can get for these families right now, then that's what I most definitely would like to do.
In Fort Myers, Colton Chavez, Fox 4.
With everything that's going around in the world, I feel like that does make us safer.
The world's corrupted, and we need something like that wherever you go.
And with so much happening in the world, Lee Health installed a new state-of-the-art weapon detection system.
What we have seen across the country, sadly enough, is that hospitals are not immune to violent behavior.
Gloria Graham is Lee Health Systems Director of Public Safety, and she tells me the hospital is a place for healing, and safety should never be a concern. After more than a year of research,
The health system decided to ditch the metal detectors and go with something a little bit more advanced.
How does that feel to have to walk into an emergency department and divest all your belongings?
When you go to a sporting event or you go to the airport, of course you have to go through security checks. And of course you have to empty out your belongings, take out your wallet and your keys. However, here at Lee Health, that's no longer the case because now you have all your items and walk straight through with their new security detection.
Yeah, I can say that. More convenient. You know, it's not a hassle like the airport.
But let's say you were in an emergency or anything, you can just go straight in.
The new system can tell the difference between a weapon and your cell phone. And Lee Memorial is the only hospital in Southwest Florida with this new technology. And it's in the emergency room wing.
The trends as it relates to weapons getting into a healing environment. The emergency departments are dynamic places and not just in Lee County.
And for some visitors here at Lee Memorial, the system is making them feel safer.
I know that nobody's just going to go in there with unauthorized weapons.
In Fort Myers, Brianna Brownlee, Fox 4.
I'm here at the Cape Coral Police Department to give you an exclusive look at new technology here at the forensics unit and what it means for us here in Southwest Florida.
Oh, this is huge.
It's amazing. I cried when my grant writer called me and told me that we received it. I couldn't believe out of the whole United States and everyone that applies for this, that our small city of Cape Coral was awarded this type of equipment.
More than $200,000 of new equipment and updates made to this forensics unit, all a grant from the Department of Justice.
We are the only local law enforcement agency in Southwest Florida to have this type of equipment.
So it was time to get behind the scenes and see what this equipment does. You see this material here and you may not think much of it. As to the naked eye, you see just a pattern, but
that's a gunshot. So this is GSR, gunshot residue. That's the lead, the bromium, everything that comes out of the muzzle of the gun and burns into the material. There's a gunshot. And then all the stippling, which are those little dots around it, that's your gunshot residue. That helps with the distance of how far they were shot. And then let's zoom back out so we can search, and there's blood. I know it's blood because it's absorbing my infrared.
These tools will help the forensics unit as well as detectives throughout investigations and can bring justice and closure to families faster.
They're easily able to switch between the wavelengths, and then they have goggles that they use depending on which wavelength of light they're using. So if they're using a blue light to look for bodily fluids, they would turn the blue light on, they would put their filters on or their goggles on, and then they put the correct filter in place.
These are used for a wide range of investigations, from sex assaults, overdoses, narcotic search warrants, shootings, anything involving blood or blood spatter. It also can work for fraudulent documents. If we need to detect cleanup in a scene where someone has fixed damage on walls or repainted surfaces to hide evidence, this will assist us in all of that. We have a much stronger case in court because physical evidence doesn't lie. And if other agencies around us wanted to use it, they would need to call us and we would have to come out and help them with their investigation.
The forensics unit is fully trained on this new technology and ready to start using it this week. Here at the Cape Coral Police Department, Elise Chingari, Fox 4.
Now. I'm Colton Chavez, and not only am I learning how to play pickleball today, but also how to stay cool during this summer heat.
When it comes to the fastest growing sport for pickleball players in Cape Coral, learning how to beat the heat is the only way they can play on these scorching summer days. Over just the past week at this court, players say a man had to be taken to a local hospital for heat stroke. So along with lots of water and shade, players today like Lee Daniels say,
if the wind is not blowing, it really burns on you. I wear a neck gaiter that I soak in water to help, and I put an ice cube under my tongue. And
all to not only stay cool, but to keep cool as players work on their serve. In Cape Coral, Colton Chavez, Fox 4.
Definitely has been a hot last couple of days there, but take a look at in terms of tonight, looking at 79 degrees out there, partly cloudy skies. Not a bad night by any means of things tonight, but still keeping that humidity around. Take a look at temperatures though as we get in towards tomorrow. Another very similar to today, but 94 degrees Fort Myers, Punta Gorda, 93 Naples. You get inland, Moorhaven there, 92, 93 LaBelle and Immokalee. We are looking at about a 40% chance of showers and storms. That's going to be mainly inland for you, but still with mainly inland storms, really not much to cool us off with those feels like temperatures about 103 as we roll in towards tomorrow afternoon for you. And because of those high humidities, we still do have those heat advisories. Collier, Henry, and Glades counties there until 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. We could see that even extended beyond that there as well. As for future casts, we are looking at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Partly sunny skies there in the forecast. And then you get towards about noontime. That's where we're watching shower storms bubbling up right around I-75 or just east of I-75. And with the winds coming out of the west, they will be pushing towards Lake Okeechobee as we roll in towards about 2 o'clock and pretty much hanging out there towards the lake and then pushing off to the east coast ultimately. But could see some stragglers as we roll in towards tomorrow evening for you. So I will be watching that. But for the most part, most of the rain should be done for our area rather early on into the evening, but still could see some localized amounts inland upwards of about an inch or so. But you notice not a whole lot of rain still continuing up along the coastline, but we will have better chances of rain on Monday up to 70%, pretty much hanging out 60-70% chance of rain Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And boy, oh boy, do we hope we get it near the coastline. But the long range models are having still the majority of the rain east of I-75, but still pushing some rain towards the coastline. So again, fingers crossed with that, because that's where we still do have those drought conditions with severe drought over portions of Sarasota, Charlotte, and even Lee County, and much of the rest of Lee and coastal Charlotte County in moderate drought. So we really do need the rain. Fort Myers itself over 8 inches behind there in terms of rainfall. Elsewhere in the tropics, we're continuing to watch subtropical storm Don as the 11 o'clock advisory, 40-mile-an-hour winds with this. We do expect this to kind of weaken over the next day or so here down to just a remnant low, and then maybe strengthen back up to a subtropical storm as we get towards Wednesday. But this is really just staying way out into the middle of the North Atlantic, so I'm not really worried at all about this. Elsewhere, though, we've been really just watching Saharan dust pushing off Africa and across the pond. Big plume across right off Africa, and then still watching some here in the Caribbean, keeping those tropics pretty much rather quiet. As for the 7-day forecast, mainly inland storms tomorrow, but each and every afternoon watching afternoon showers and storms. Temperature-wise, pretty much hanging out in the low to mid-90s.
We're all bracing for a rough summer.
Dr. Jason Spadaro studies coral restoration in the Florida Keys at Moat, located in Sarasota. Dr. Spadaro and his team are bracing for a significant coral bleaching event in the Keys this summer due to record warm temperatures. Here is the mix: weaker trade winds and a warmer global temperature. Coral is particularly sensitive. When the temperature gets 2 to 3 degrees above normal, coral becomes stressed. After several days of this, the coral ejects the algae that gives it a color, revealing its white skeleton. This starves the coral of nutrients and can lead to its death.
While bleaching has become kind of an annual occurrence, a seasonal issue here on Florida's coral reef, the temperatures that we're seeing this year are particularly concerning and have us all bracing for a worse than usual bleaching event.
These coral reefs are critical to wildlife, but they also can break up 97% of wave energy a tropical system creates, meaning they are key in protecting Florida's coastline. The process to regrow our reefs is a slow process, with most corals growing less than an inch each year.
I'm Colton Chavez, and I'm here at Saddlewood Horse Club in Cape Coral. And if you walked outside today, I guarantee one person or another has asked you, can you believe how hot it is? Now for us, grabbing a bottle of water and cooling off, that's an easy 1-2 step. But what about what we do for animals such as horses? Well, here at Saddlewood, they're doing some pretty cool things to help beat the heat. Let's go check it out.
Keeping cool here at Saddlewood Summer Camp for the participants and the ponies means daily showers to cool off, at least for the horses, plus plenty of water and box fans at every stable. It's a learning opportunity here at camp as the kids learn how to keep themselves and their animals safe from the heat. After Hurricane Ian, the storm destroyed a lot of the animal stalls, but luckily Saddlewood says they were able to rebuild them before the heat of the summer. Jenny Stranka, who works at Saddlewood, says it's no sweat off her back to take the extra steps for these horses.
Just like it's for us, it's very difficult on the body. It's very dangerous for them as well too. So anything we can do in terms of, fans, giving them showers to cool off, getting them their, their special horse quencher, anything we do to kind of help prevent them from getting to that dehydrated or that too hot point, we're happy to do for them, yeah.
That also means taking care of their campers with water and even ice pops. If this seems cool to you, head over to our website at fox4now.com to see more. In the Cape, Colton Chavez, Fox 4.
I'm Caitlin Knapp with Fox 4. She sells seashells by the seashore.
That kind of gives you a little bit of a hint of what I am working on today. I'm on Sanibel Island outside of the National Shell Museum, where they're partnering up with Parks and Rec to offer monthly shell excursions. They really want the community to come out and to support the island, especially as the Shell Museum is still working to rebuild after Ian. Rebuilding doesn't mean sharing knowledge stops for the museum. Its Associate Director of Education, Jordan Fokker, held this tour Monday by Lighthouse Beach, sharing what she knows about shells with locals and tourists. It's education you would see normally here, but Ian damaged a significant amount of the museum. None of the 550,000 shells were damaged on the second and third floors. The first floor got 5 feet of water, killing 80% of its marine life and destroying all the exhibits. Fokker says the beaches are still a great place to learn as the museum rebuilds.
If we have those right winds, they just get pushed right up on the beach. Looking for shells and really just educating people about the mollusks that live around here.
Mollusk, if you didn't know, is the animal that used to live in these shells. When they die, the shell washes up on shore. Ashore seeing sandy feet as people learn about shells, while the museum works to bring people back. They're hoping to have the aquarium open by the end of this year, and the second floor with the shells by next year. Reporting on Sanibel Island, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.